around. So recent, this box office flop, Madam Web, there was so much drama about this movie. Of course, the biggest drama about this movie is the star for this movie, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. Both of these big actors, I guess. Although Dakota Johnson is not as big as Sydney Sweeney, who has this recent big hit at the box office, you know. She's this upcoming big star in Hollywood right now. So anything she says, of course, Sony will not be mind. However, Dakota Johnson, who been into many flop movies in her career, but end of the day, Dakota Johnson, she is always in this indie movies, except that movie, what, 50 Shades of something, you know which one I'm talking. So except those movies, Dakota Johnson is not star of big budget movie. This is the first time she was in this big Hollywood blockbuster. Although this movie cost $80 million to make, and it is part of this MCU story, but it is, end of the day, it's a Sony studio movie. No matter what people think, this is a Sony studio movie. But the way Dakota Johnson, she handled the press tour for this movie, looks like Sony studio is not happy with her. It was personally for me, it's like, whoa, it is beyond ridiculous. Like, why is she saying all this thing one after another? Because you know what, end of the day, nobody thought Madam Web will be a huge box office hit, especially movie that get only 12% on Rotten Tomatoes score, although audience score is still 57%. And when I read some of this audience, it looks like some people did, maybe a little bit they enjoyed. But Dakota Johnson, every interview she keep, you know what, she looks like she was really angry at this movie, that she took this movie with her agent. I think she fired her agent, so it's understandable. She was coming out, you know, she was trying to protect herself, you know, she tried to separate herself from this movie. And I was thinking, you know what, Dakota Johnson, this was a huge break for you. You're not in a blockbuster movie. Of course, all her comments, who is behind this movie, Sony Studio, is actually quite angry with her, all her comments. If I was the studio head, I would be angry, like, why every time you're opening your mouth, you are, you know, bashing this movie. Not that I'm protecting this movie by any means. This movie is bad. You should not say anything. You should just do your press tour and move on. You don't need to, like, separate yourself from this movie. Because you cannot separate yourself. No matter what you say, people will always think Madam Web, the biggest flop for 2024, starring Dakota Johnson. No matter what she says. That being said, of course, her comments looks like, according to Daily Mail, they're angry. The Sony studio is actually not happy with her because they're saying Johnson dragging the new, no kidding. They're saying Johnson is dragging the new film. Which, yeah, they did receive, you know what, such a bad review. But they said how she reacted to this failure will likely to come back to haunt her. The source also noted that not every movie is going to work, which is true. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Not every movie is going to work, but a lot of hard work is put toward bad movies. And for your star to, yeah, on it, it looks bad. Yeah, that is what my point too. But according to this article, like from Daily Mail, they're not mad with Sydney Sweeney at all. They're said that, like, Sydney Sweeney is making joke on Madam Web during her opening monologue on Saturday Night Live. But Johnson's criticism film is partly include a recent comment about how she wasn't surprised this in the theater. Yeah, that's right. I feel like, yeah, the way Dakota Johnson, she handled this movie was I was really surprised. That means a lot of people will champion her because, you know, she is saying bad thing about it. Because, you know what, I don't think she should be saying bad thing about people who worked on it. I'm not saying like you should feel bad for the studio, because you know what, they knew when they were making this movie, what they're making. They knew it's not gonna make box office money, but they tried to make it anyway. But I don't think it's Dakota Johnson's job to dish on this movie. She's starring no matter how much she tried to separate from this movie, she is always going to be part of this movie's box office flop. So I feel like, yeah, Sony has a right to be angry at her, and that's my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about Sony's mad at her? If you enjoyed about this video, don't share my other videos, some other topics. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe until I see you next time. Please take care.